This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. It's so great having you join me here in these online lessons. This is lesson 41 in this mini course that's all about flat picking. In this lesson, we're going to work on composing or improvising melodic fills with the G major pentatonic scale. This is a great way to get started if you want to learn later to do full-on solos in the flat picking style, which we're progressing towards later in the course. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Now, down in the description below, there's a link where you can download a free copy of the sheet music for this lesson, which is Flat Picking Fun number 8. So you're going to want to grab that so you can play right along with me. And so you have the reference material there as you're working on this skill. So we're going to start off with the G major pentatonic scale, which sounds like this. This scale, if we were to compare it to like a regular old major scale, for those of you who like a little bit of theory, has the root note or pitch number 1, and then it has the second step of the scale, the third, it skips over the 4th and goes to the 5th, and then has the 6th. And those are all the pitches in it, then it skips over the 7th, and we're back at the root. So in this key, for the G, the key of G, or the G chord even, we've got G, A, B, D, E, and then we're back to G. Now, let's finger the whole thing in first position and walk you through it. It's written right there at the top of the page. We're going to have, when we play this, every open string is going to be played. So, and then we have one other note on that string, and it's either at the 3rd fret or the 2nd fret. So that sort of pattern can help us memorize where it's at. And the 3rd fret is used on the low 6th string. The 3rd fret is used on the top 2 strings. The rest of the strings, so the ones in between, string 3, 4, and 5, we use the 2nd fret. So if we look at how to play this, we start off with the G, which is the lowest root on the 3rd fret of that 6th string. Then we got the open 5th string, 2nd fret on the 5th string, open 4th string, 2nd fret on the 4th string, open 3rd string, 2nd fret on that 3rd string, open 2nd string, 3rd fret on the 2nd string, open on the top string, and then 3rd fret. And if we come down 3, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 3. And then as you'll see, if you're actually looking at the way it's written there, that we can use the low 6th string and come back to that 3. So we do have that low E note that is also in the scale if we want to go lower than that lowest root. So if we play it all together, we go ready and... Now we can use this scale in this key, so the key of G. We can use it sort of in a glossing global fashion. We can use it over any chord in the key if we're playing a song in the key of G. Though in flat picking, sometimes we'll play things that are a little bit more specific to the chords as well, which we'll learn about in future lessons. We can for sure always play this scale with a G chord. And that's what we're going to start off working it with. We're going to work it just with the G chord. So let's look at some licks or some melodic fills. I've just written out a few here. The way this is sort of written is that you could play a 2-measure fill and then play a couple bars of G, just with an alternating bass down up strumming pattern. We've done this before in lots of lessons, so don't need to really go over it again, but it's written there for you. But what we do want to go over is a few of these ideas, these melodic ideas that I've written out for you to explore ways that you can play melodically with this scale. So once you have the G major pentatonic scale down and you can play through it kind of fast, then it's time to start trying to be melodic with it. In the flat picking style, we have sort of a fluid 8th note texture. I've kind of borrowed that from my jazz world in using that, because we say fluid 8th notes is a characteristic of the style, and it is in jazz. It also is in flat picking at the bluegrass. We do lots of 8th notes or lots of 16th notes. There's just this fluid, constant texture that's occasionally broken up by quarter notes or other rhythms. So as we get started here, this first one sounds like. So I'm going to play it kind of fast so you can hear it. So if we work that, it's just coming straight out of that G major pentatonic scale. And you can do it as many times as you need to learn it, but we're just going to repeat those first 4 bars. Going back and forth between doing chords and doing the fill. Do melodic fills, it's going to be in between where chords are at. So here we're kind of using the melodic fill and then launching the chord. In the last couple of lessons where we had some flat picking etudes I'd written out with various different melodic fills to kind of get it in our ear and get it in the fill. The fill was after the chords, but same kind of idea. Here we're just alternating back and forth with G. So that's the first one. That's a great lick or idea you can get down. And you get it up to a faster tempo as you're ready. Let's look at the second one. So the second one's similar but has some differences. So if you learn that slow, and then we'll go back and forth. So going through the full 4 bars, I throw in the chords. And we've got that one. Let's look at the third one. This one's a little bit different as well. So another idea. I haven't been mentioning it in this lesson, though I've mentioned it in previous lessons, but in flat picking we do a down pluck for the notes that are on the beat and an up pluck for the notes that are in between the beats. Sometimes when we have 2 quarter notes back to back, we'll do a down and an up as well. But so with this one we'd have down, up, down, up, down, down, or down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then down, up, down, up, down. So we just keep that alternating going. We got the G chord. You can alternate, you can do it again. So forth. So another great idea you can learn. As I've started playing and improvising in the various styles, I'll learn ideas or little licks, and that helps me sort of get the sound in my ear and under my fingers, and then that helps me build and develop ideas of my own that sort of build on that. Once we sort of create these neurologic pathways from our brain down through the nerves into our fingers, we start to create like a superhighway, a freeway, instead of an old pioneer dirt road, you know. We eventually get it so that our brain just says, oop, here's an idea, oop, here's an idea, and it just goes right down to our fingers and we just play it. It becomes really fluid. So as we're learning, a lot of times it's really helpful to learn a bunch of ideas that somebody else has played that we can kind of pick up, help create those neurologic pathways, that our idea will develop its own ideas that fit in that same sort of realm or language, and send those to our fingers, and we are off to the races with improvising our own. So there's 3 on that page. If we look at the next page, there's 3 more. This first one is going to have a little bit of practice with the low notes, or some ideas that can incorporate the low notes. So this first one, that, and then we can do those 4 bars. Continue to practice that as much as you want to. Let's look at the next one. It sounds like this. So I'll play it one more time. And putting it with the full 4 bars, we'd have. So there's that one. Now let's look at the third one there on that second page. We could go in, but I'll play it one more time. Okay, so now when we're playing, we usually don't play the same fill every time. So when we have them all like that, we could actually play them back to back. So let's go ahead and play all 6 of those ideas. We'll just go right through them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the little chords in between. So we're going to have 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and... Of course, as you learn those, you can take it a lot faster. But the last line on that second page, we've got just slashes with time, and it's saying, hey, it's time for you to play around with making up your own with the pentatonic scale, the G major pentatonic scale. So you'll notice that on beat 3, we're targeting this G. You don't have to target the G, but something that really works with this specific idea of inserting melodic fills is that you want to target the root note, like the resolution point. Right now we're working on G, so that's the resolution point. So no matter what, I've got 3 Gs, and I kind of want to end on that, and then I can play the chords. So when I'm doing a 2-measure thing here, I would want to end on G. And I've got in here where we got the G strumming. You could actually just end right there on a G and then go into it. You don't have to play the chord. But if I go back and forth, just making them up, I have 8 eighth notes worth of time in the first measure. And then as I'm targeting that G on beats 3 and or 4, before we go back to the chord, I want to try to finish my idea on a G. However I work that in, I want to do that so that it sounds complete. That'll help it sound complete. We can start off on the G, or we don't have to start off on the G. We move away from it, we build tension, we come back home. So there's just tension and release to the line. just go around, make them up, keep that fluid eighth note texture going, or the quarter notes, and you can do it. You can also just improvise of the chords. So if I'm gonna go ahead and play just the chord a little bit, just like that. So you could practice playing lines over the chord and hear that. So you got 1, a 2, a 1, 2, ready, and. So that gives you some chords. If you want to with the video, you can just improvise your ideas over the top of it. So you can use any of the notes from that pentatonic scale. You can memorize these licks and use these as ideas that kind of spark your creativity and get you going. And then you just have to work it and try and play those eighth notes, play an idea that works. And sometimes with my students, a lot of times we'll kind of count through it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. And sometimes you get down there and you're like, what? And then you just, that's okay. Then you just play the chords again and you reset and you keep going. Lots of practice, lots of playing before you have the control over this that you'd like. But that's how you get going, and it's exciting, it's fun to improvise your own ideas. So you don't want to play with that. In the next lesson, we're going to add to this by seeing an extension and how to play a little bit higher and play with some alternate fingering, so we get some other ideas happening with the G major pentatonic scale. It's going to be great. Hope you're having fun. Take care, keep at it, and I'll see you next time. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more in-depth lessons and to progress through a free guitar course, check out my Guitar 101 series on YouTube and my guitar method books, which all come with access to hours of in-depth video lessons. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.